They say that the less that we want, the more we appreciate what we have. But how do we get there? Today, we are going to talk about creating an abundance in our lives. Welcome everyone to the channel today. If you don't know me, I'm Bonita. I am from rural Kansas and I retired early at the end of October at the age of 57. I'm the daughter of Depression era parents. I live very frugally, and that has allowed me to be able to retire early because for me, time is my biggest asset, and I am enjoying my retirement so very much, and you guys help me with that. But over my life, I have had struggles. I think we all have. There's no way we can get through this life without struggles. But learning to appreciate abundance and feel abundance in our everyday lives takes some practice and maybe even takes some self analysis. But I'm going to share with you 4 of the ways that I've been able to find abundance in my life and what has worked for me. I hope you enjoy this video. The first thing is I found that what I focus on affects my mindset. And this sounds so practical in thinking, but our minds can get away from us and negativity can set in, whether we're thinking about our weight or about what bills we have or what responsibilities we have or just overwhelm. And sometimes we forget that we have control over what we are thinking, but it doesn't feel like it. In my past, I've been a chronic worrier. I would foresee anything that could possibly go wrong and try to prevent it. And I think part of that came from me being the mother of 6 kids. I prided myself on being able to foresee anything that could go wrong and try to prevent accidents or injury during the time that I was raising my kids. And that was a huge part of my life. But once they grew up and they left and I became an empty nester, I realized that that worry really wasn't serving me anymore. In fact, it was just causing me anxiety, and I had to learn how to let that worry go. I've done a lot of self growing and self analysis through retirement. Anytime in our life when our conditions change, it makes us take a step back and say, wow, I'm this far in life, and where has it got me? What have I learned? And I felt like those 3.5 months that I spent living in my RV in Texas was a huge growth period for me. And I realized that my mindset affects my happiness in more ways than I ever gave it credit. If we feel lack in any area of our lives, we tend to focus on that lack. Think back into high school when we had our first crush, and then we found out maybe the boy didn't like us. We felt a loss of something that was never ours. And things like that happen throughout our life. Maybe we put in a bid on a house and then we didn't get it, and we will feel a loss for something that was never ours. And then we will focus on that lack of something that we felt we lost, and it can totally turn our mindset into despair, depression, sadness. And we have to recognize that those things can and will happen throughout our life, but we can't let them derail our mood. The second thing that helps is to focus on the meaning of something in your life. If I focus on my kids and my grandkids, I feel blessed. I feel lucky. I feel rich, and I feel proud. But if I sit back and focus on maybe the fact that my house needs some repairs and I'm not feeling like I want to let go of that much money to get all of those things corrected, that can lead us into that despair again. So we have to focus on the things that are going right. I had a job in the past that I did not like, and I hated getting up every single day and going. And it seemed like even if I said, "This is gonna be a great day, I'm going to make it a great day," and then I got there, and within 30 minutes, schedules had been changed, paperwork needed redone, and the whole day was just set in a downward spiral. And one of the things that I did to get through that job to the other side is I would tell myself, this job is temporary. This job is my step to the next best thing. And I just need to get through this day and get through this job because it's temporary. And that would help me feel so much better to convince myself and tell myself this is not permanent. This doesn't have to be your life. Yes, it's your life today, but you can change that and you have the power to do it. That downward spiral actually is not a bad thing. It can lead us to set more goals and to make plans of things that will make us happier. And it helps us learn what we want in our life and what we don't want. And then we can focus on getting more of the things that we want. The third thing that has helped me find abundance is growth of myself, changes of my ideas, and being open to different ideas. I shared with many of you before that this minimalism and decluttering, I had a hard time wrapping my mind around that. I had parents that were Depression era, and my parents held on to everything that could be used or reused or repurposed. And that's how I was raised, is everything had a value. And so I held on to things, and many times it would reinforce that idea because I would end up using something that I stored. But the amount of things that I used that I stored were so much less than the amount of things I had stored. And I always didn't know where the thing was that I knew that I'd kept. And over time, as my daughter introduced me to minimalizing belongings and decluttering, I felt sadness for the people that didn't have a lot of things. And then I started seeing what she was talking about, how just getting rid of some stuff could open up space. And I would feel the stress decrease because I didn't have that area cluttered and I had space to use it as I want, or just walking through open space felt so nice. And I started realizing that getting rid of things that I thought had value actually had hidden values by getting rid of those things. I had less stress and I had more improvements in so many areas of my life. It also helped me with my worry. When I would sell something or donate something, it felt so good to watch it leave and to get it out of my car and to know I was going home with less. And until you have experienced that, it's a feeling that I think you really have to delve into, because I come from a family that has held on to things tightly. And learning to let that go has been one of the biggest growth experiences of my life that has opened doors to so many more joys than I could imagine. The fourth thing is struggles can help us see abundance. How many times have we heard when one door closes, another one opens? And sometimes it feels like that's just a consolation to whatever bad thing is happening to us. But I have found through my years on this earth that it is so true. Maybe someone loses their job, or you get into a car wreck, or something terrible happens and you come home and you're like, this is the most horrible thing ever. How am I going to get out of this mess? But as things go on, things get better. And sometimes you get that better job, or you get a better car or a good car at a low price to replace the car you had, and maybe it's more reliable. So sometimes those bad things can lead to good things. And there's been times that I've looked back and said, at the time I thought it was the end of the earth. And then later I look back and say, everything that happened to this point got me to where I am today. And I feel really good about the place that I am today. So those things had to happen to give me the experiences that I can appreciate what I have now. In many cases, struggles will lead to success. And that's something that we have to remind ourselves. Even if we can't see it right now, when we look back, hindsight is always 2020. And many times we can look back at those struggles and say, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I wouldn't have learned what I've learned to be where I'm at right now. So I hope that this video has encouraged you, that if you are in one of those low spots right now, to try to look at your mindset, look at your negativity or your positivity, look at what could be paving the way to a brighter future, and give yourself grace. I hope this video has been helpful, and if it has, please give me a big thumbs up, and I hope to see you in the near future.